Hey everyone, welcome to Marketing for Designers podcast. I'm your host, Masha, a messaging strategist and a copywriter for the interior design industry. I've been marketing for what feels like forever in my past career at some of the biggest global firms like KPMG and Deloitte. Today, I write website copy for designers using my signature voice of customer framework. If you're a designer looking to up your marketing game and attract premium clients, this podcast is for you. Each week on the show, we're going to be talking all things marketing, from branding to messaging to social media, SEO, and so much more, so you can have all the tools you need to grow your business and attract your dream clients. Hello, and welcome back to Marketing for Designers podcast. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite topics when it comes to messaging and website copywriting. This topic is so important for interior designers. I actually consider this a must-have or must learn for every interior designer. We're talking about above the fold essentials on your interior design website. And each of these elements that I'll be talking about today actually deserves an entire dedicated podcast episode. But I really wanted to talk about it in this list kind of format, so it's easy for you to remember what each of these elements are and how to make sure that you are making the most of your, let's call it premium online real estate, because above the fold is so critical. But first things first, what is above the fold? Most of you probably know what it is, but for some of you that don't, because it is a bit of a terminology that gets thrown around. But as an interior designer, as a business owner, as a service provider, you're also a marketer. So you really have to know what it is, because how you show up online actually matters a lot. So above the fold is that portion of a web page that's visible without scrolling. So when you land on your homepage, this is the first thing that you see on your website. It's your above the fold section. So this term actually comes from the newspaper era, where the most important stories were placed on the upper half of the front page to catch a reader's eye. So think of those biggest news stories. They all show up above the fold. So same thing now that we're looking at our websites. Your most important things should be above the fold. So on your website, it's that first chunk of content that your visitors first see and interact with. What it does, it sets the stage for everything that follows on your website. It sets the tone, it invites people into your story, and it's so critical that you have a really compelling above the fold and you've got all the important elements at play. So when you think about your own above the fold space on your website, it's not a whole lot of space to work with, but you have to have all of those elements. And while it's not a lot of space, you have to make every small thing count. So why is your above the fold so important? I know it may sound cliche, but it is the truth. The content above the fold is what makes that first impression. Because in just a matter of seconds, your website visitors decide whether they want to continue scrolling or bounce or leave completely. This makes it absolutely critical to capture your website visitors' attention quickly and effectively. So what they see above the fold can really determine whether your website visitors will engage with your content, get interested enough to scroll, and eventually make that next step to reach out, or actually just move to another site. So what should an interior design website, and specifically above the fold portion of that interior design website, what should it have? Here are the 5 essential elements. So let's start with element number 1. Element number 1 is the headline and the subhead. I consider it a one thing. You don't always have a subhead, but it is important to have a headline. So the headline is that first line of copy that people see when they first land on your homepage. What the headline should do is it should grab attention with a clear and succinct statement about your service or about your unique value proposition. It could be the promise that you're making to your audience. It could be the transformation that you help your audience achieve, or it could be the big problem that you help your audience solve. That's the headline. Now, the subhead, as I said, you don't always have a subhead, but in some instances, it is important to have a subhead right under the headline. So the subhead supports the headline. It provides a lot more detail, more context. It highlights specific services or the unique approach that you have to design. So the headline captures attention, and the subhead keeps your visitor's attention by expanding on the headline, helping to guide the visitor further into the website by sparking their curiosity. It makes them want to continue exploring to the other pages or just down the home page. So that was the headline and the subhead. Let's talk about the second element. The second element is intuitive menu. So think about that upper navigation menu, or sometimes you have a hamburger menu on the side, the same thing. So what are we talking about here? We want to make sure that we have an easy to navigate menu. It should be clear, it should be visible, and it should be logically organized. So in most instances that your menu options include home, about us, services or process sometimes, portfolio, and contact. So it's kind of like a standard 5-page website. And these are the main menu options that you'll have at the top. Sometimes designers like to include a blog, which is just another page as part of your main navigation menu. Other times you have it at the footer of your website. So why do we need to pay super close attention to a great menu? Because a well-structured menu ensures that visitors can effortlessly find what they're looking for. When you have a great menu, an easy to navigate menu, not only it improves the user experience, but it also reduces frustration. Because the aim of the menu is not only to help your visitors find what they're looking for, but it also keeps them longer on your website. And that's what you need. That's what you want to do. You want to keep your audience, your website visitors, a little longer on your website. You want them to continue exploring your website, learn about your brand, learn about how you do what you do, learn about your story, and then at the end of the day, connect. And that's a great segue to element number 3. You want to make sure that you've got a compelling call to action above the fold. A call to action, or if you've ever worked with a copywriter or a website designer in the past, they're also called CTAs. So think of your CTAs or calls to action as compelling invitations. They could be something like start your dream project today or transform your space now. They're not just learn more, which is actually often what I see on an interior design website. Learn more or connect or inquire or start, which is just a simple text on a button. And that's simply not enough. It is a call to action, but it's not a compelling call to action. Your calls to action need to be compelling and inviting so that the website visitor is actually encouraged to take the next step. So the most impactful calls to action use concise and action-oriented language that emphasizes the user benefit. It clearly articulates or implies that the actual act of clicking, if they click on a button, is a natural step in developing that relationship between you, the designer, and your website visitor. And that's what you want to do. You want to invite them to take the next step. You don't want to assume that they will take the next step. And you also don't want for them to rely on their own kind of way of finding that contact button at the top right-hand corner. So a really great call to action also creates a sense of urgency, which is why oftentimes you see words like now or today. I do want to emphasize that an effective call to action is not just a single button. It can often include a couple of lines of copy. So let's look at a couple of examples of strong calls to action. So one example would be, here's a bit of copy right before the button. Imagine the possibilities of a newly transformed space. Schedule a discovery call today and let's explore what your dream home could look like. And then you see the button at the bottom or right below the main call to action. Book your free discovery call now. So you see what I did there? We have some urgency because we included now and today. And we also communicated the benefit of booking a call. And we made a promise of a transformation. So here's one more. Embark on a personal design journey for your home. I'll guide you through every step to ensure your space perfectly aligns with your vision and lifestyle. Let's get started. Begin your design journey today. So we did the same thing. We included some urgency. We communicated benefits. So now we covered 3 of the must-have elements for your above the fold. Let's talk about element number 4. We're talking about social proof. So what is social proof? It's basically something that signals trust to your website visitors. It's built on this psychological idea that people are more likely to trust and follow the actions of others. So in marketing, and specifically on a website, social proof is used to influence potential customers by showing that other people have trusted you. They've done business with you. So we see social proof in the form of customer testimonials. We see them as industry media mentions, like oftentimes you would see like a social media banner that starts with, or that has a headline featured in or trusted by. You also see it in the form of partner logos. You also see it in the form of professional accreditations or affiliations. So some type of certifications that are widely recognized in the interior design industry, like IDS or mine. I'm currently working on my website, so mine will have my DOMA, Business of Home, Design File, Side Door Workshop, Side Door, and these are widely recognized interior design companies. They signal trust. So the way to display these elements is to have them prominently featured under the main headline, right before you need to start scrolling, or immediately after the headline, so it's immediately visible to others. So things like customer testimonials and industry mentions build credibility and trust from the get-go. That's why it's so important to have them on the homepage where website visitors land first. So testimonials and logos of known brands and associations, they help reassure visitors of your professionalism and success. And that makes them more likely to engage with your services because it's tied to the idea that people are more likely to trust and follow the actions of others. So it's important that you feature these things right above the fold. So last but not least, essential element number 5 above the fold is, well, here's the thing. This is not actually an element, and it's not what should be highlighted on your above the fold, but it's how it should be highlighted. And what I'm referring to is actually audience-centric copy. So in other words, you want to make sure that your messaging above the fold speaks directly to your audience. So it's not about you, which is what I often see on interior design websites. It's about them, your ideal customers. The copy needs to speak directly to them. You want to make sure that your messaging speaks directly to your target audience's needs, desires, or challenges that may be feeling or experiencing. And the reason why we do that is to help you, your interior design brand, come across as more engaging and relatable. The goal is to make your audience feel heard, seen, and understood as they read the copy on the website. So when they land on your website, and if they see that you recognize what they're feeling, you know what they're going through, you understand, you have some empathy, you understand what their pain points are, you understand what do they want their place to look like, or what do they want to feel in their own home, it shows them that you as an interior designer understand what they're going through and what they want, and you've got the solution for their challenges. So because we're talking about above the fold, that means that your headline and subhead needs to be written in a way that's audience-centric. So rather than having the first words on your landing page be about you, which is often what we see, as I said, on a typical interior design website, you have to make it about them, your ideal clients. So call them out directly. Use words like you and your. That's probably the easiest thing to do. When you use words you and your, the copy speaks directly to whoever lands on your website. So a couple of examples of audience-centric headline and subhead. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to have subhead, but if you do, if the design allows for that, or if you feel that your headline could be amplified, use a subhead. So here's one example. Elevate your everyday living. And the subhead is explore bespoke design solutions that transform your house into a home you love. See how many you we used? So now the copy is speaking directly to me. Here's one more. Imagine comfort designed. And the subhead is tailor every corner of your home to suit your lifestyle with our expert personalized design service. Again, same thing. I'm speaking directly to my ideal clients. Yes, it's also about me, because I'm implying that I have that personalized design service, I have this bespoke design solution, but it is talking directly to my audience. So at the end of the day, when the audience lands, when my dream client lands on my website, he or she will feel that this copy speaks directly to them. And here's the last one. Redefine your living space. And that's the main headline. And the subhead would be discover the impact of professional design in creating a more personalized, functional, and welcoming home. Same thing. The copy is speaking directly to my audience. All right. So that was that, nice and quick, but actionable. This was 5 essential elements for your interior design website, specifically above the fold. So let's recap what those were. Number 1, compelling headline and subhead. Number 2, intuitive, easy to understand menu. Number 3, strong call to action. Number 4, social proof that signals trust. And number 5, audience-centric language. I do want to say that there is no right or wrong. Like, there are no rules when it comes to website messaging and above the fold. But these elements are proven to work, because what they do is they immediately capture your website visitors' attention and make them not only want to stay and explore your website, but they also make them want to take the next logical step. And that's what you want at the end of the day. You want your ideal audience, you want your ideal client to reach out and book a consultation. So I hope you like this quick and actionable episode. I hope you go back to your own website and see if you actually have all of those 5 things above the fold on your website. And if not, I hope you'll consider adding them and to make sure your website works a little bit harder for you. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Marketing for Designers. This is Masha Cohen signing off. See you next week.